What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to another Star Citizen discussion video, and this one is going to be controversial, and I am choosing violence with this one. The Ares Starfighters need to come back from the dead. So, I'm going to start this off hot. I'll say that. The fact that these things got nerfed into oblivion. Now, granted, I was never there to actually fully experience. Actually, I wasn't there to experience the early days of the Ares Starfighters anyway, so I don't have hands-on experience of how they used to perform. But the reasoning that I have been hearing of why these things got nerfed is absolutely absurd. The fact that some people got angry or upset over the fact that they decided to stay at the business end of a size 7 Gatling gun or a size 7 laser cannon and got obliterated in seconds is absurd. I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna say that right now. If you decide to stay on the business end of one of those guns, you should be shredded instantly. And the way they are now, as much, and I love these ships, I absolutely do, even in their current state, because they are sexy looking and they're tons of fun to fly, but they don't even do the job they are intended for right now. They are intended to take down Idrises in gunships, hammerheads, and hell, even redeemers, you know, gunships, capital ships, and everything like that. I even have footage of me looking at the website at their descriptions of what they are meant to do. One of them even says it's supposed to tear smaller fighters to dust. So let's take a step back. Let's take a step back and let's look at their stats. You know, we're gonna look at what, like, their Urkel stats and stuff like that, and get an idea of what they're supposed to do. Essentially, let's look at them on paper first before I try to bring up points. But I just wanted to start it off hot, really fast, because the Ares Starfighters have fallen from grace, and they should not have been. And if we look here at the Ares Ion, and the description here, spark fear in the corridors of the most formidable gunships and frigates with the Ares Ion. This laser-equipped variant delivers extremely powerful shots to quickly disable the shields of even the biggest enemy vessels. Right, if you look at the description for the Ares Inferno, whether heading up a crew or hunting big ships solo, the Ares Inferno is a force to be reckoned with. This ballistic Gatling-equipped variant tears through gunship armor and turns smaller fighters, emphasis on the smaller fighters, to dust in seconds. So here is the Ares Starfighter Ion. So both of these ships are combat ships. They are heavy fighters. They are size 3. I believe both of these pretty much share the same performance aside from DPS. They both have 10,000 body HP, 200 nose HP, a total of 30,100 total HP, right? They're both 30 meters wide, 27 meters long, and 6 meters tall. They have an SCM speed of 170 and a max speed of 1,120 meters per second. Max pitch, yaw, and roll is 30 degrees, and 115 degrees per second. Their hydrogen fuel capacity is 450,000 units with the QT fuel capacity of 5,000 units. And it is available to buy at the Crusaders showroom for 2,859,000 Alpha UEC. It's got a sustained DPS of, the Ion has a sustained DPS of 2,663 with 2,100 Alpha and a burst DPS of 3,850. Now, if we change missile loadouts, the missile DPS can change, but the stock DPS is 56,072. Like, these numbers, you know, for the standard numbers here for like their hull HP, their speed, max pitch, yaw, dimensions, and stuff like that for both of these ships. It's right in line for a heavy fighter. It's supposed to be a heavy fighter, right? It's not supposed to be taking on like light fighters in a straight out dogfight, right? So if we look at the Ares Inferno, it's got a sustained DPS of 4,740 with an alpha DPS of 219, and its burst DPS is also the same due to it being ballistics. It's also got the same amount of default missile DPS, and it is available to buy at the Crusader showroom for 2,859,000 LFUEC. All right, so on paper it looks pretty good, but I'm not gonna lie, that DPS, especially for the current state of the Ares Ion, should be higher. Now I don't know how at least the Ion in general performed back when they first came out. I don't know if that rate of fire was lower. I believe it was, but I know that DPS was higher, and that DPS does need to be higher, because right now if you were taking on even a Hammerhead or an Idris, or I don't know, like a Valkyrie or a Connie or something like that, it takes way too long for this ship to take things out, or take those ships out that it's designed to do. It takes way too long to take down those ships that it's designed to do. Like my previous videos, which actually some of the B-roll footage you guys are seeing, it took 20 minutes with a group to take on an Idris. That shouldn't be the case. It's designed to like tear through the shields and do some damage, man. And if we go back to the Inferno, that Gatling gun, I mean, it's got more DPS, but that's because it's ballistics. But with shield absorption, and honestly the fact that right now with ballistics, you got like a 50-50 chance of the hull just absorbing the rounds and not even doing any damage to it, it makes the Inferno pretty much useless. I forgot what they exactly took away from these ships. It was either like fixed assist and something else, and they nerf the damage to make them pretty much like they can't even do the job that they're designed to do. And the fact that this thing is like, especially the Gatling gun, just sprays and prays all over the place, the accuracy, like it's a Gatling gun, it's not going to be like tight groupings, don't get me wrong, but it like these groupings are massive. Like I'm pretty much shooting silhouettes over fighters, and granted, yeah, these are designed for bigger ships, but you can even see the ballistic Gatling equipped variant tears through gunship armor and turns smaller fighters to dust in seconds. That would be the case if it wasn't nerfed into the ground pretty much, and it's just impossible to hit anything that's not an Idris. I am upset, and I've been upset about this for a while, and I've been holding off on making a video on this because, one, discussion videos aren't my strength. I usually play the game and I talk, and you know, I can't really compile my thoughts. Now that I'm starting to do these discussion videos, I've decided to take the opportunity to do that because voices need to be heard. And honestly, I think because of the fact that it's either like the bigger streamers for Star Citizen or content creators, or either the big PvP guys, you know, they decide to stay in the business end, or somebody gets a lucky shot off with an Ion and one hits a Gladius. I'm sorry, but that dude should be rewarded for one hitting the Gladius, because that's probably not an easy shot to make, regardless if it has fixed assist or not. Like the Gladius should be either knife fighting and staying close to that thing, we're trying to get it into like a right fight or anything like that. Try to stay close and stay away from that gun, or stay behind. But if you create distance on that thing and the Ion goes boom and just pops you and you're dust, I'm sorry, the dude in the Ion deserves that dub 100%, because he hit that shot. He hit the shot when it counted. You shouldn't punish them for this. Like they shouldn't have been punished for this. I understand you want some balance there, right? But when these things came out, from what I understand, they were made for what they were intended. You know, just like the A2 bomber, it's made for what it's intended. And I know there's some cryouts out there. We all know who I'm talking about getting the A2 nerfed. That thing does what it's intended. It drops big bombs and clears out, you know, a ground target or a ground position, you know, where there's heavily fortified. The ship's a tank. Yeah, it's going to take more than one Saturnian to shoot it down. It's going to take like I've tanked 2 torpedoes from a ballista in an A2. You know, it's a heavy bomber. It's not going to go down in a single volley of Centurion fire or a couple missiles. That's not going to happen. So, I mean, if you have enough of them, yeah, you can take down an A2. Don't get me wrong. But it does what it's intended to do. CIG knows what they're making. At least for ships. I'm going to say that right now. At least for ships. But they are getting stressed out from people saying, oh, this thing needs to be nerfed. This thing needs to be nerfed. This thing needs to be nerfed. Because it's shredding your Gladius. or shredding your arrow just because you decide to stay in the business end of it. I'm surprised the Corsair hasn't been nerfed yet because of the 85Bs and or the ability to have 4 size 4 gimbaled with 2 size 3s, like 5 guns on like something that can just tear apart a light fighter. I'm sorry guys, but your light fighter meta is not going to last because these ships, other combat ships, need to be viable in their different in their various situations. Capital ship killers are supposed to kill capital ships. I'm not saying they can't do it, but it takes forever. I tried taking down an Idris in the Ares Inferno with a group, and I ran out of ammo. Like, this Gatling gun is supposed to help shred this bigger ship, but I'm running out of ammo before it's dying. Now, granted, I'm not saying I hit every shot because I didn't, but it should be doing more damage, and I'm also not saying it's supposed to take something down alone on a single magazine. Like I said, I was in a group, you know, with a Retaliator. I had another person in an Ion and another person in Inferno. I believe I even had a Redeemer out there. I don't remember. It's actually not. I didn't get it on camera because I wasn't recording on time, at the time. But like, even with all those things shooting at the damn Idris, and it still didn't die. And again, when a ship description says it can tear smaller ships into dust within seconds, it should be allowed to do that. I'm just gonna say this right now. The Ares Starfighters need love, and they need to be rebalanced back to a good point, a good spot. You know, they need to be used. They are 2 of the sexiest ships in the game, and nobody wants to use them, and that's a damn shame. Some of these things need to come into fruition and be able to do the things that they are designed to do, and people need to understand that if you're on the business end of a Corsair or an Inferno or an Ion, honestly, don't cry, but like, things shouldn't be nerfed to the fact to where they're useless because you got 1 hit or 1 shot in your Gladius. Honestly, what I think they should do to fix these ships is, 1, bring it back 100% to where it was. Make the Ion have a big overheat threshold. Yeah, it's got that big capacitor, but you got to time your shots to make sure your cannon doesn't overheat. And if it does overheat, you got a little bit of a cooldown there. You got to wait to get more shots on target, right? Give it a good have it overheat pretty relatively quickly, but crank that DPS up. Don't slow down the rate of fire. Don't do that. Just crank that DPS up and allow it to overheat a little bit faster. So that way you have to pick your shots. Use the Ares Ion like a sniper rifle. Give it back its fix assist and whatever else it got rid of. I just don't remember what else it got rid of. Just give it this decent overheat threshold with the Ares Inferno. Bring it back to where it was, 100%. Honestly, bring it back to where it used to be, and honestly, I think it'd be fine. Now, like I said, I was not there when like these ships first came out, so I don't know firsthand of how they did actually perform. Bring it back to where it used to be and leave it alone. Because again, I will say this one more damn time. If you're at the end, or the business end, of a ship that is carrying some kind of size 7 gun in a light fighter, and he is lucky enough to hit you, the Ares pilot deserves that dub. That's all I'm going to say. So, like I said, I know I rambled on a little bit, and I know this is going to seem like a rant or like I'm just fucking bitching. But you know what? Somebody's got to bitch for the little guy, and somebody's got to bitch about the fact that these ships are being nerfed wrongfully. Yeah, you got people bitching about ships that need to be nerfed. Well, I'm gonna bitch for ships that don't need to be nerfed or brought back into the fold. I'm gonna bitch for shit that needs to be improved and not nerfed. So I'm gonna wrap things up here. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys find my rant a little eye-opening. But either way, if you did, go ahead, leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and just a reminder, I'm going for 10,000 subscribers by January 1st, 2024. If I hit that threshold of 10,000 subscribers by that date, I will do my first ship giveaway. But I will see you guys in the next video and around the verse. Alrighty, have a good one.